All right. Hi, everybody. This is Rebecca Davey, Becky Davey, as you would have known me in high school. And right now I get the chance to talk with one of our classmates from the class of 84, Annette Giersch. And what's
Hi,
your newest name? What's your married name? Sorry.
it's Siverling now. So
Cyrus.
Annette Giersch Siverling, yes.
Very good. So tell me, where have you been for the last 40 years? Tell me what's new and exciting in your life.
Well, quick summary, I got married and um, was married for 27 years. We adopted two children from Russia. They're biological twins, Elizabeth
Oh,
and
nice.
David. They were 7 months old when we adopted them. And unfortunately, after 27 years, we grew apart, so we're now divorced. But the kids are, if you call them the kids are living in my basement,
They're
and
always
we're,
kids. My kids in my basement. They're
oh,
always gonna
see,
be
you get
kids.
it.
Doesn't matter how old they are. They're always going to be kids.
And we're living in Longmont, Colorado now.
How did you come to Longmont? I mean, you started in Hudson and then what's next?
Well,
How did you
Hudson,
get to
and then I
there?
went to school in Akron, so I commuted. And my first job was in North Canton, Ohio. I got married, moved up to Elyria, Ohio, and then we ended up both our jobs in Sandusky, Ohio. So we actually stayed there the longest. We raised the kids. We built a house, raised the kids there, and my husband got let go from his company, and since he was so much older than me, he was 15 years older than I, so he was 60 at the time. We decided that it would be my decision where we go next. And we sat with the map and said, well, we don't want to go to the humidity of the southeast, and northeast was too expensive. So we said, oh, the mountains look sort of cool. And it was Salt Lake City and Denver in the running, and I was in manufacturing and it found more job opportunities in Denver, so we moved out to Denver.
Wow, that's great. What
Yep.
what's like a really cool thing that you've seen in Denver or in the area of Colorado that is like unforgettable that you would never have seen if you stayed in Hudson, Ohio?
Probably just the wildlife and the beauty of the mountains, truly. I've seen everything from bear to elk to moose to um, they have deer out here, but they're mule deer. They have real tall ears. They're nothing like the deer we were used to in Ohio. But the mountains are just so beautiful. And every time you turn a corner, it's another gorgeous view. Totally different from living in what I call the flatland of Ohio. So that's
Right.
probably the coolest part. And no humidity. Can't beat that.
That is really nice. No bad hair days.
I would,
Your screen sharing is paused. Okay. Stop share. Okay. I guess I stopped screen sharing. I'm sorry.
that's
Um,
okay.
and I'll have to edit that out, but that's okay. My
That's
husband
fine.
just came home. So, getting back to it, 40 years ago, you moved to Denver, you got mountains and beauty. When you decided to college, was that back 40 years ago, was that where you wanted to go? Was be in manufacturing or what was your dream?
No. So I went to school for engineering, which is exactly what I was expecting to do when I graduated from high school. Um, but I went into mechanical engineering and I ended up coming out of school and working as a contract engineer for designing like heating and air conditioning and fire protection systems for buildings. And I
Wow.
did that. Yeah,
That's
totally
an
different.
integral thing, though. It's
I wanted to be an astronaut. How I went from one to the other is no idea. But anyways, we ended up, I was in Cleveland working at a consulting firm, and we ended up wanting to build this house in Sandusky. And it just happened that my husband was working for a manufacturing company that worked for Ford, like a supplier to Ford. And there was another company in Sandusky that did manufacturing, supplier to General Motors. So I decided to apply to General Motors, and that's where I ended up for over 20 years.
Wow,
So
that's
I
great.
did something totally different than I thought I would do. And I love manufacturing. I ended up in quality, and when we moved out to Denver, I got a job as a quality manager, and I'm now a director of quality. I moved around in 4 different um, companies and learned so much. I worked for an ice machine company. I worked for a company that built blades for wind turbines. I
Oh,
did
wow.
electric motors, and now I'm in a machine shop as a director of quality. So pretty fun. Totally different from what I expected.
But all integral things that we need to make things run in our society, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, what is something wild and crazy you've done since high school that nobody will believe that you did?
Oh my goodness. I've become quite the adventurer. Traveled a lot. We raised our kids and took them to all 50 states by the time they were 13 years old.
Oh,
So they
wow.
had seen, and then we started doing the European countries. And we were in New Zealand on a family vacation and ended up at the Auckland Bridge, and that was where bungee jumping first started. And my daughter turned to me and said, Mom, we're always doing your bucket list items. It's your turn to do one of mine. So she convinced me that I had to jump off this perfectly safe bridge with a cord around my feet and go head first towards a
Head
river.
first? Oh my goodness. That is crazy.
I'll
Now we're
never
gonna
do
have
it
to do a
again.
one up. Who can beat Annette for things that we've done? Um, what would you tell your high school self now, 40 years later?
Oh, good question. I think back then, and I think it's changed nowadays, but back when we were kids, that transition from high school to life beyond was thought to be so critical, like life or death. You had to be on the right path or else kind of decision. And I would tell my high school self not to sweat it, that make a plan, go for it, but don't be afraid to change and don't be afraid to do something different because you never know where life will lead you.
I got some photos to share. Okay,
Just
yay.
came up.
All right.
Oh
So
my goodness, this is
that's
moldy.
ink spot. There you are. It's just important for us to all be together. And looking at that photo, I, I am pretty sure one or two people in that photo have passed away.
Oh, seriously, who's gone?
Um, we'll talk about that in another time.
Okay. Oh,
But
what a shame.
what I had brought up was the old school.
There it
It's the old
is.
school. Yeah. Oh, running out of time. Hold on. Let me get a couple more just to put you on the spot. I found seventh grade
Oh,
photo.
oh no.
Yeah. And there you are at the National Honor Society. And that was in 1983.
Oh
And
my.
then there's your junior year. And that is a great photo of you, senior year.
Seen your picture.
And then this is Key Club.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And then this is the Math Club.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even remember being a part of that. Oh, I
And
love it.
then that was the ink spot again. But yeah, it was fun finding all the photos with you in it and trying to remember all the different people's names and everything and how we all made a difference in everyone's lives.
We definitely did.
and you look wonderful. You really do. 40
Thanks.
years later, you still got that amazing smile and welcoming eyes. You're a great lady, and I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to me and the class of 84. Any words for the class that you want to share before we go?
Have a great reunion. Sorry, I'll miss you.
Well, maybe next year. How's that sound?
There you go.
Or
Next time for
next
sure.
time, 50 years. We're making a date now. And then we've got 60, a few more years. We're all turning 60, which I can't even believe.
That's great. It's been great chatting with you, Becky. Thank you.
Yes, I hope you call me when you come in town in a couple weeks because it'd be great to catch